Hey guys, welcome back to the 26 YouTube channel. Today we're going to be ranking all 9 of the MCU projects that came out in 2021. Now, even though the world's been an absolute mess since COVID has come into the fold in 2020 or 2019 should I say, 2021 has been a better year for us all, and especially when it comes to Marvel films. I would personally say this is one of the best years we've had, or if not the best year we've had. And that is mainly because, as I will go into more in depth in this ranking, is because of Disney Plus. We've got, let me just count through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 out of the 9 projects that came out this year were series on Disney Plus, and a lot of them really took me by surprise. So without wasting any time, let's get straight into it with number 9, which was Black Widow. Black Widow, I think a reason why this film did not do as great as maybe a lot of people wanted it to, because obviously Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, been a character since the first Avengers film, and you know, she's become a character that we've all loved, and I feel like a lot of fans, Marvel fans, will agree with me. I don't think they did the character justice. I don't know if it was weird watching a character that you know is dead. I know it's a prologue, kind of like how Star Wars did prologues or whatever, but there's just something about, especially it was meant to come out, was it a year or two early? I think it might have even been 2 years earlier than when it came out, and everyone was waiting for this film. The hype had kind of died down by the time it came out. Not just that, but by the time it did come out, you could buy it on Disney Plus, and I believe didn't Disney and Marvel, I think they lost out on like $60 million dollars just because of people pirating the film, which the whole entire thing surrounding the film was a bit of a letdown. The best thing I can say about the Black Widow film was Florence Pugh's Lyanna, because that character is amazing, and as we'll get into later on down the line, she was also absolutely phenomenal in Hawkeye. I loved that character, so funny. Whenever she was on screen, the film was good. When she wasn't on screen, the film wasn't very good, let's be real. Even like the family scenes, which I thought were quite cringy at times, when she was on screen with like her and her dad in like the bedroom, I thought like those scenes were really like special, and I feel like she carried the film a lot. Next up, we have number 8, Eternals. Now, I'm not going to go into massive detail on the Eternals, as my first YouTube video of it that I put out yesterday, or whenever you're seeing this video, was an Eternals review. So if you want to hear my full-on review of the Eternals, please go watch that YouTube video. But the Eternals it wasn't a bad film, it wasn't a good film, it was kind of just in the middle. I think I ranked it like 6.5, 7, something like that. Because I like all Marvel films. Like, don't get me wrong, all films on this list I do like, but I just think a lot of the other ones outweigh this, and I think they try to introduce so many characters at once, which for me personally, I do read some of the comics, but I haven't actually read anything on the Eternals, and it was just so many characters to try and get you to like at once, and I just don't think it worked. Now, next up, at number 7, we actually have a bit of a surprising one, because I thought this was going to be bottom of my list when it got introduced and like when the trailers were coming out, and that's Marvel Studios' What If, which was an animated series. But I just really liked the show. It was something different. I think what would have made this show better is if the episodes were longer, especially that zombies episode. I'm someone who hasn't read the zombies comics yet. I really want to. I think I've got some on the way. But I've heard a lot from like proper like hardcore Marvel fans how like the zombie storyline in the comics is like one of the best, and I would have liked to see a little bit more. Like they kind of just, I feel like every episode ended 10-20 minutes too early, if that makes sense. But overall, I thought it was a cool concept. I thought the animation style was cool. I haven't seen any animation style like that. Kind of has its own style, kind of like how Star Wars has its own style for like the Clone Wars and Rebels, which I thought was cool. And I really liked the Watcher. I just thought he was badass. His voice, you know, like I am the Watcher. You know, like he just sounded cool. So yeah, number 7, I think it was. Was that 7? Yep, is What If. Next up, at number 6, we have Hawkeye, which is a bit of a weird one because I really liked this show for the majority of it. I did the last episode felt like a punch in the face to me. It didn't live up to what I wanted the last episode to be. I thought killing off Kingpin at the end was a bad decision. I know, because obviously I've seen the comics of this storyline. I know Kingpin is alive, and he's probably just gonna be blind, or he'll get surgical new eyes put in, because that's what happens in the comics. Both those things happen, I believe. But I just think killing them off was a bad decision, and yeah. Let's talk about the characters in this film, in this series though, because I thought Hayley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop is one of the best castings Marvel's ever done, and trust me, Marvel have done some good castings before. I thought she was just brilliant. You know, you fall in love with the character. Her and Lucky the dog, the pizza dog. You just like, that's just really cool stuff, and I really like those two as a duo. I thought Jeremy Renner was good as Hawkeye. Still, I thought he puts in a good shift every time he picks up the bow and arrow. I thought the whole Kate Bishop's parents storyline was a bit iffy. I just wasn't 100% sure on it. I thought the Jack Duquesne, was it? No, that's not Jack Duquesne. The guy who got killed in the second episode, was it? Or the first episode? I believe it was the second episode, but you can question me on that. When I just think his death got brushed over really easy, like it was nothing that happened. Like they kind of just talk about it casually throughout the film, or throughout the series. But yeah, I liked Hawkeye most episodes. The first one was a bit iffy. Third one was really, I think the third episode of Hawkeye is the best episode of any series on this list. But overall, I think there's obviously ones that are better. Now at number 5 we have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was a bit of a weird one, because at the time I wasn't 100% sure. I thought it was cool. I thought it was like pretty good, but I never thought I'd appreciate it as much looking back at it now, because I really thought that series was good, and it's the only one. I am a grown man. I can't believe I'm going to be saying this, but it is the only series on this list that made me cry, and it was when Falcon shows Isaiah Bradley's statue up in the museum. It's just like that moment when they hugged. I don't know why, I just got really emotional. I thought that was just so powerful, and yeah, I think just for that moment alone it deserves to be in my top 5. Next up at number 4, it's been a while since we've been talking about a film. A lot of these have been series so far, but we've got to say Shang-Chi. I thought Shang-Chi was a sick film. I thought it was just so different. Like, I loved the karate, like jiu-jitsu, sort of like Bruce Lee sort of like fighting styles. I thought it was really cool. And then at the end, it's just absolute chaos, and I loved it, with the dragons fighting. Kind of your first time watching it, you're watching it like, what the fuck is going on? You're a bit confused, but it's just so fun. Like, I think that's what I love about this film so much. It's just fun, and it was different, and I think more MCU films need to be like this, because it was funny but serious, and I really thought we got one of the best villain performances that we've ever had in the MCU in this film. It was just a really good film. I really liked it. Now at number 3 we've got WandaVision, which was a weird one, because I think at the time when I was watching this, because as the time is recording this right now, it's been just over a year since the first episode of WandaVision came out, which is crazy. But the hype when this series first came out, because nobody had a clue what was going on. It was like, why are they in a sitcom? It was just so different. This is the most different thing Marvel have ever done, and I respect them for trying it. And even though I was very, and I'm telling you, very pissed off at the Ralph Boner, like Quicksilver like thing, it's just really annoying me, because I love Evan Peters as Quicksilver, one of my favourite characters ever on screen. So I got annoyed when that happened, but overall I thought it was really cool. I thought Vision and Wanda's love stories was great. Wanda as a character, badass. Agatha Harkness was good. You could see it coming from a mile off that it was Agatha Harkness. Like, you don't call your neighbour like a name that sounds so similar to Agatha Harkness. But yeah, number 3 is gonna be WandaVision. Now at number 2, I've got I was very torn, but I think there can only be one number 1. So At number 2, I've got Loki. I really like Loki. Right next to me right now, I've got my Mobius Funko Pop because everything about this film is great. Mobius, Miss Minutes, Kang the Conqueror. Like, when Kang showed up on screen, it was like, I felt like it was a thing for Marvel fans where it was like, yes, we've got something. So much like thinking Mephisto might be in one division, and then we finally got the one of the big bads in the series, and it was just really cool. And I really like Loki. I thought it was just the sci-fi elements. I really liked the scene at the start where you got Loki looking back at everything that would have happened in his life, and he sees, himself get killed. He sees him in full makeup. I think it's just everything about that is so powerful, and I really loved that film. Now I better stop because we've got one more film to talk about, and it is a big one. I'm recording these in clips, by the way, and I just realised I called Loki a film. I can't be bothered to go back and redo that. I know Loki's a series, alright, don't come at me. But at my number 1 spot, could there be any other thing on this list than Spider-Man No Way Home? This film it's nostalgic. It's just a brilliant story. It's a love letter to Spider-Man fans. It's everything we wanted. As someone who was born in 2003, I'm gonna be 19 this year in a few days actually. I wasn't even born when that first Sam Raimi, Green Goblin, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film came out. Like, when I finally could watch that film when I was about 4 or 5, I was so shit and scared of Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. Like, hello, my dear. Like, I was just like, something about him just scared the shit out of me as a kid. And then Spider-Man 2, one of the best superhero films ever made. Let's not talk about Spider-Man 3. And then you've got Andrew Garfield's amazing Spider-Man films, which I really like. I don't know why they get so much hate. The second one, the story is very flawed, but Andrew Garfield is brilliant in it. But it's just everything about this film, man. Like, I thought the only one flaw I can find in this film every time I watch it is the lizard, because mainly as somebody who I just said, I just really like the Amazing Spider-Man films, and I really think they turned the lizard into a joke when in the Amazing Spider-Man he was a very serious character, and I think that's one thing I just didn't like, because you could obviously tell he's just acting a lot different. I thought Jamie Foxx, even though they changed up Electro, I thought it was cool. I liked it. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, brilliant. He smashed it out of the park again. Willem Dafoe, best performance in the film, brilliant. Tom Holland, we need to give this guy more props. One of the best. He is one of the best Spider-Man. I don't care. He's not personally my favourite, but I think give him a few more films and he definitely could be. This kid is really good at acting, and he showed such a good actor. He showed what a good actor he is in this film. And this is going to be one of my favourite films of all time. Just seeing your 3 heroes on the screen throughout my life, just seeing them, from when I was a little tiny kid at 3, 4, 5, and then, me at 10, 12, and then me now as coming into an adult. It's just, all my childhood is on screen, and it was just, I just loved it. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave that there. That's my review, or my ranking of all the MCU films this year, or last year, should I say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye.